Do you ever wake up from a strange dream and lie there for a moment, wondering what your mind just created in the dark? Or maybe you felt that quiet curiosity about what your brain is doing when you drift so far that you can't even feel yourself fade. Light that left its star before you were born is touching your skin tonight. And somehow, your sleeping mind is listening. Tonight, you and I gently step into the 100 unsolved mysteries that live inside your subconscious, the quiet purposes behind nightmares, the hidden logic of dreams, the strange pauses in awareness, and the moments when the brain seems to move the body without you. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. And as you settle in, your nightly slumber becomes something different, a landscape of unanswered questions, a place where science leans close and whispers, "You can rest now." And as we drift deeper together, we arrive at the first and oldest riddle of the night, the quiet, hypnotic gateway of sleep itself. For all our science, for every sensor placed on the scalp and every scan painted in shifting colors, we still stand in a soft astonishment before a single question: why do we surrender to sleep at all? You can rest now, every night, in a rhythm older than language. Consciousness loosens its grip, the edges of thought fade, the boundary of the self softens, and we give ourselves away to several hours where awareness no longer guides the body. It is a profound vulnerability. Early humans curled in darkness while predators roamed. Birds tucked their heads beneath feathers. Even tiny fruit flies paused their motion because sleep, in some deep evolutionary logic, could not be avoided. Across species, the cost of staying awake is measurable and unforgiving. Rats deprived of sleep for 2 weeks collapse into metabolic failure. Humans, deprived for mere 24 hours, begin to show cognitive drift, memory disruptions, and lapses in emotional regulation. And yet this vulnerability persists as a universal law of life. Somewhere inside this paradox, meaning waits. You can rest now. We sometimes imagine sleep as inactivity, a stillness, a shutting down. But the truth is more intricate, more luminous. As the body relaxes, the brain begins a series of electrical orchestrations that, in many ways, appear more dynamic than wakefulness. Neurons fire in vast synchronized waves, almost 10,000 times per minute, like tides rising and falling through the cortex, deep in the quiet tissue between those pulses. The body begins its repairs. Proteins unfold and refold. Damaged cells are replaced, and tiny fragments of molecular debris created during the day are slowly cleared. Somewhere inside this nightly renewal, we feel our edges soften, and the mind drifts like a lantern on still water. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Scientists call this the Great Reset, a cellular reset. Yes, but also a reset of identity, mood, expectation, and memory. Short-term memories, fragile and flickering, move toward long-term networks during sleep, stitched into place at a pace nearly 40% more efficient during certain NREM stages. Emotional memories are sorted, too comforting ones strengthened, distressing ones softened, all in a quiet negotiation we never witness. Some researchers believe that without this nightly consolidation, the narrative thread of our lives would unravel. We would wake not as ourselves, but as scattered versions missing the coherence of yesterday. You can rest now, and deeper still, beneath the cellular repairs and memory weaving, another system begins its slow, steady labor, the glymphatic network. During sleep, it expands nearly 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash through the brain, clearing metabolic waste, including beta amyloid fragments associated with cognitive decline. It is as if the brain opens hidden channels only under darkness, performing a cleansing that the waking mind never notices. Somewhere, light continues to travel, and somewhere inside you, the night performs its ancient work. But perhaps the most mysterious element is this: consciousness steps aside, not fully gone, not erased, but placed gently in standby, as if the self hovers behind a veil. We experience hours of existence without the narrator who usually speaks in our thoughts. Yet somehow, when morning arrives, the self returns, intact memories aligned, identity unbroken, continuity restored. This ability to dissolve and reassemble is one of biology's most delicate secrets. You can rest now. Evolution could have chosen anything else. Shorter microsleeps spread across the day, selective neural shutdowns like dolphins, or perhaps a different architecture of consciousness entirely. Yet for humans, sleep unfolds in long stretches, cycles of roughly 90 minutes, descending and rising through 4 stages before returning to the surface. Each descent is a gentle surrender, each ascent a quiet resurfacing. What forces shape this ritual? Why this form, this duration, this rhythmic choreography? No one fully knows, but we sense its necessity. We feel the pull each evening, as predictable as the movement of tides. You can rest now. And as the first mystery of the night spreads out before us, we begin to understand sleep, not as absence, but as transition, a journey from alertness to something more diffuse, more spacious. Our ancestors feared the dark, yet they trusted this inner dark completely, lying down under open skies while the universe spun overhead at nearly 30 kilometers per second. Even then, sleep called them inward. Even then, the mind folded into its private world of repair, renewal, and forgetting. Somewhere in that ancient stillness, the architecture of modern sleep took shape, carried across thousands of generations. Tonight, as we drift together, it becomes easier to feel the strangeness and beauty of this evolutionary choice that life itself asks us to disappear for hours, only to return clearer, calmer, more aligned with the world we left behind. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. You can rest now. And as we breathe, the night opens further, guiding us gently toward the next unanswered wonder of the mind, the secret architecture shaping every cycle, every wave, every descent. And as we settle deeper into this first mystery, the question continues to shimmer before us. What truly happens to the self when sleep begins its quiet descent? We often imagine the onset of sleep as a switch on, then off. But the reality is gentler, more layered. a gradual loosening of the mind's grasp on the world. It starts with alpha waves slowing, drifting toward the softer hum of theta, frequencies falling from 10 hertz down to 6 as awareness thins. In that narrowing gap, the world grows distant, and the inner night begins to bloom. It's okay to drift. Hypnagogia, that fragile, between state glow, opens like a door left slightly ajar. Colors appear behind closed eyes, shapes folding and unfolding, memories rearranging themselves into unfamiliar patterns. Sometimes a voice speaks a word that never existed. Sometimes a face appears without name or context. These flickers may last only seconds, yet they hold an uncanny power, as if consciousness is practicing its departure. This threshold is where creativity rises sharply. In fact, researchers found that resting near the edge of sleep increases problem-solving accuracy by nearly 83% for certain tasks. The mind, unshackled from logic, wanders where waking thought cannot follow. It's okay to drift past that doorway. The body begins its nightly descent. Muscle tone softens. The heart slows by 10 to 15 beats per minute, and blood pressure drifts downward like a feather settling through air. Breathing becomes more even, guided not by attention, but by instinct. Soon, the body enters the deeper stages of NREM sleep, the heavy, restorative waves that silence the outer world completely. Somewhere in this depth, neurons synchronize so strongly that entire networks fire in unified rhythms, a chorus of biological timing. Slow-wave sleep becomes a sanctuary, a place where the body repairs micro-tears, restores energy stores, and strengthens the immune system's quiet resilience. It's okay to drift, but the paradox of sleep grows even richer here. The deepest stages, the ones that rejuvenate us, also strip away awareness entirely. We become present without being conscious, a rare state in the landscape of existence. Time loses its texture. Thought ceases its narration. The self retreats into silence, held safely by patterns older than memory. Some say this is the closest we come to returning to the womb, each night suspended, protected, dissolved into a state that feels outside of time. It's okay to drift. What fascinates scientists most is how coordinated this dissolution truly is. The brainstem regulates breathing and reflexes. The hypothalamus monitors temperature with fluctuations of barely 5 degrees Celsius. The thalamus closes its gate to sensory input, and tucked deep in the midbrain, arousal circuits dim their glow. Every night, whether we notice or not, we rehearse a kind of neurological choreography so intricate that even our most advanced simulations cannot replicate it fully. You are safe here, and still, the mystery persists. Why does it take this particular form, alternating between depth and dream, silence and imagery, dissolution and return? One theory suggests that by cycling through multiple states, the brain balances competing needs: physical restoration during slow waves, emotional processing during REM, cognitive integration in transition phases. Another proposes that sleep protects us from ourselves, that continuous wakefulness would overwhelm neural systems with stimulation and unfiltered memory. Somewhere between these ideas, a truth hovers softly, refusing to be pinned down. You are safe here. Even more mysterious is the universal nature of sleep across species. Bats sleep nearly 19 hours a day. Horses sleep only about 3, usually in short bursts. Whales and dolphins shut down one hemisphere of the brain at a time, resting in half wakefulness. Yet every species, from tiny nematodes with exactly 302 neurons to humans with nearly 86 billion, obeys the same nightly pull. It's as if life itself carved this requirement into biology long before ecosystems formed, long before brains grew complex. Somewhere deep in the evolutionary past, sleep became a promise. Disappear for a while, and you will return restored. You are safe here. And so, as our first mystery settles around us, sleep appears not as an interruption, but as a companion, a recurring journey woven into the fabric of every life form that breathes, grows, or thinks. Even the stars, burning at millions of degrees, experience cycles of brightness and renewal over spans of billions of years. Everything in the universe rests. Everything pulses. Everything follows its own descent and return. You are safe here. Now, as we drift toward the next chapter of our exploration, the night opens into deeper structure, the layers and patterns that shape each cycle, each wave, each moment of surrender, stage by stage. The architecture of sleep reveals itself like constellations forming in slow motion, and together we move gently from the question, why do we sleep, toward the quieter, more intricate mystery of how the night constructs itself within the brain. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the next mystery waits. It begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, the night assembling its structure inside the brain long before we are fully aware of drifting. Sleep does not arrive as a single state, but as a layered architecture, a gradual unfolding of rhythms and electrical patterns that rise and fall like distant tides. For all its gentleness, the architecture is precise, measurable, and astonishingly consistent across most human lives. It's okay to drift. Each descent into sleep passes through a threshold where the brain shifts from fast, buzzy beta activity into the softer hum of alpha, a frequency around 8 to 12 hertz. Alpha waves flutter like warm light behind closed eyes, carrying the leftover thoughts of the day. But as the transition deepens, these waves stretch, slow, and dissolve into the drifting world of theta, the wave of dreams in their earliest form, pulsing closer to 4 to 7 hertz. Somewhere between these frequencies, consciousness begins loosening its grip, its edges losing shape. It's okay to drift. Stage 1. The first gentle step inside the night lasts only moments. It is a fragile, floating state, neither fully awake nor fully gone. Images flicker. Thoughts lose their structure. The body may jolt suddenly in hypnic spasms as motor neurons fire one last protest before surrender. From the outside, it looks like stillness. Inside, entire networks reconfigure. The thalamus, the brain's sensory gateway, closes slowly, filtering out external noise except for the most urgent signals. And as this gate closes, the world narrows to an interior space. It's okay to drift. Then, deeper still, sleep enters. Stage 2, the quiet heart of the night. Here, brainwaves take on two distinctive forms that researchers often describe as signatures of sleep itself. The first is the sleep spindle, bursts of rapid oscillations lasting half a second to 2 seconds, flickering around 12 to 16 hertz. They appear like quick sparks, protecting sleep from interruption by blocking unexpected noises or impulses. The second is the K-complex, a single, towering wave, the largest in human EEG, rising and falling like a slow meteor across neural space. These patterns anchor the descent, weaving stability through the fragile architecture of unconsciousness. It's okay to drift. Stage 2 occupies nearly 50% of the typical human night, a quiet terrain where memory traces are rehearsed, muted stimuli are processed, and the brain practices the art of holding the body steady while the mind slips farther away. Muscles relax, heart rate falls, temperature declines fractionally. The body feels suspended, yet deeply rooted. If sleep had a doorway, this would be it, a threshold that opens into the deeper chambers of the mind. It's okay to drift. And then the great descent begins. Slow wave sleep emerges like a tide pulling everything downward. Delta waves rise, vast and slow, drifting at 0, 5 to 2 hertz, each one carrying millions of neurons in synchronized motion. It is the deepest and most restorative stage of sleep, where external awareness fades completely. The cortex quiets. Metabolic demand decreases by nearly 25%. Growth hormone releases steadily, supporting cellular repair and immune balance. Emotionally charged memories soften here. Physically demanding days recover here. The body reclaims balance it cannot achieve while awake. It's okay to drift. Slow wave sleep is mysterious, not because it is complex, but because it is profoundly simple, a state of stillness so deep that consciousness cannot anchor itself. Time dissolves. Minutes slide past without texture. There is no narrator, no story, no dream yet, only a rhythmic pulsing of the mind in its most ancient signature. In many ways, this stage feels like the earth turning inside the body, an echo of planetary rotation rendered in neural waves. It's okay to drift, yet even the deepest quietness is temporary. Slow wave sleep eventually loosens, giving way to a rising internal storm, the bright, active phenomenon of REM sleep. But before REM takes hold, the brain climbs back upward through stage 2, retracing steps it had taken earlier in the night. This upward movement reveals something essential about sleep. It is not a straight descent, but a cycle, repeating several times each night. Approximately every 90 minutes, these cycles change shape as the night progresses. More deep sleep early, more REM toward dawn, like an internal tide shifting with invisible gravitational pulls. It's okay to drift. The architecture of the night is therefore both stable and fluid, a choreography that holds its form while subtly reshaping itself hour after hour. No two nights are identical. Even when the structure remains recognizable, its details shift. Spindle frequency adjusting with age. Delta, depth, varying with emotional load. REM, lengthening with each cycle. Sleep is a pattern, but not a repetition. It is a living architecture, breathing, bending, responding to the world we carry inside us. And somewhere within that architecture lies the next great mystery, the place where electrical storms give rise to narratives, symbols, impossible worlds, and the flickering theater of dreams. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the night prepares its stories. It rises slowly, at first, a gentle quickening in the neural dark, as the brain moves from the heavy quiet of slow-wave sleep towards something brighter, stranger, and far more active. This is the ascent toward REM, the paradoxical stage where the body rests most deeply, yet the mind ignites with vivid internal light. Electrically, REM resembles wakefulness more than sleep. Beta-like waves return, rapid and fluttering, while the brainstem suppresses nearly all voluntary muscle control to keep dreams from spilling into motion. It's okay to drift. The eyes, hidden behind closed lids, begin to dart in rapid bursts, moving up to 20-40 times per second, as if watching scenes unfold on an invisible screen. Heart rate accelerates. Breathing becomes erratic, rising and falling in soft, unpredictable tides. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the brain's emotional core, glows with activity nearly 30% higher than during wakefulness. Dreams bloom from this electrical storm, woven from memory fragments, sensations, and emotional residues that drift upward from deeper structures. It's okay to drift. Inside REM, time fractures. Narratives bend. Identity becomes fluid. The brain rehearses danger, joy, longing, and grief in a world with no physical consequence. This is where stories form, dissolve, and reform in seconds, guided by neural bursts rather than logic. Modern research suggests REM contributes to emotional integration, the process of reducing the sharp edges of distress while preserving meaning. This is why a difficult day often feels softer by morning, its most jagged pieces smoothed by the atmospheric alchemy of the sleeping mind. And yet, REM sleep carries a fragile balance. Because the body is immobilized by neural inhibition, the sleeping self exists in a curious contradiction. The mind races through imaginative landscapes, while the limbs lie still as stone. If this inhibition falters even for milliseconds, parasomnias may surface, twitching, vocalizing, or in rare cases, acting out fragments of dreams. But for most of us, the body remains unmoving, sheltered by a nightly paralysis that protects us from ourselves. It's okay to drift. As the REM episode fades, the brain descends once more into lighter waves, emerging back into stage 2. Then the cycle begins again: descent, depth, ascent, and dream. The first cycle of the night may include only 10 minutes of REM, but later cycles stretch this time dramatically. By dawn, a final cycle can hold nearly 40 minutes of dreaming, creating long, elaborate narratives that feel like entire lifetimes. Sleep, therefore, is not a single state, but a repeating progression, a spiral that carries the mind deeper into itself with every turn. What makes this structure even more remarkable is its dynamic sensitivity. If the body needs physical recovery, slow wave sleep deepens. If the mind needs emotional repair, REM expands. If learning occurred during the day, stage 2 with its spindles becomes more active, sometimes increasing spindle density by nearly 40%. Sleep reshapes itself in response to life, adjusting its architecture with the precision of a system that has been evolving for more than 600 million years. Even circadian timing influences this architecture, shaping when particular stages dominate. Early night cycles tilt towards slow waves, grounding the body in physical restoration. Late night cycles favor REM, rising like a soft internal dawn. This shifting pattern allows the brain to distribute its tasks wisely, a form of resource management built into biology long before humans built the idea of efficiency. It's okay to drift, and woven through all of this complexity is a quiet but profound truth. Sleeping brains, remember, they reorganize, they protect, they repair. When viewed from afar, the architecture of the night resembles a cosmic engine cycling, spinning, flickering in its own gravity. When viewed up close, it feels more like a sanctuary, a private place where the mind rebuilds itself in darkness. Yet, even this rich architecture is only the prelude to deeper mysteries. For all the structure, sleep carries an element that defies simple mapping the dream. Across cultures, centuries, and sciences, dreams remain both familiar and unknowable experiences generated from within, yet capable of startling clarity. They are the language of the subconscious, spoken in symbols, fragments, metaphors, and impossible scenes. As the second part of our journey settles into stillness, the night prepares to shift again away from electrical waves and biological stages, and toward the vast, shimmering realm of dreaming itself, the place where images appear without permission, the place where the subconscious paints narratives that waking logic cannot fully interpret, the place where memory, emotion, imagination, and ancient instinct intertwine. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the dream waits just beyond the next breath. It's okay to drift. It begins as a shimmer, a faint ripple in the dark, rising from deep networks that had been quiet moments before. Dreaming does not arrive with a clear boundary. It unfolds like mist spreading across the floor of the mind, softening edges until imagination becomes indistinguishable from memory. Inside REM sleep, the brain lights up in patterns nearly as active as wakefulness, with the visual cortex firing at intensities up to 60% higher than during some daytime states. It's okay to drift. Dreams weave themselves from fragments, a color remembered from childhood, a sentence overheard earlier that day, a face reconstructed from bits of those we've met or imagined. These elements gather into narratives that rarely obey physics or logic. A hallway becomes an ocean. A stranger becomes a friend. Time bends, compresses, stretches, or loops without resistance. The dreaming brain does not question impossibility. It embraces it, because the circuits responsible for reality testing, especially in the prefrontal cortex, are dampened during REM. With the inner critic asleep, imagination reigns without restraint. For centuries, humans tried to decode this nightly theater. Freud believed dreams were expressions of hidden wishes, a psychological language filled with symbols waiting to be translated. But modern neuroscience paints a more intricate picture rather than messages from the unconscious. Dreams may be the brain's attempt to stitch together meaning from chaotic internal signals. Some theories describe them as memory simulations, others as emotional recalibrations. And yet, despite these frameworks, no single explanation fully captures the richness of what we experience each night. The dream remains partly science, partly poetry. Inside the dreaming mind, sensory boundaries shift, sounds blend with images, memory mingles with imagination, emotion saturates every scene, often driving the story more than logic does. This is why dreams can feel unbearably vivid, yet utterly unpredictable. The amygdala, our emotional amplifier, stays intensely active during REM, while regulatory networks that normally dampen feeling fall quiet. In these moments, joy can glow like a sunrise, and fear can take shape with startling clarity. It's okay to drift. And deeper still, dreams often act as experiments. The brain rearranges social memories, runs simulations of danger, or rehearses complex interactions without consequence. Scientists have observed that animals, including rats, replay spatial memories during REM sleep, their neurons firing in the same patterns used to navigate mazes while awake. This suggests that dreaming may help refine learning, strengthening neural maps by revisiting them in symbolic or distorted form. The dream becomes both rehearsal and reflection, a stage where memory refreshes itself in hidden ways. Yet, for all its usefulness, dreaming also carries a strangeness that escapes definition. People across cultures report universal themes: flying, falling, being chased, losing teeth, stepping into rooms that feel familiar despite never existing. These shared motifs imply that dreams draw from deeper layers of the mind, shaped not only by personal history, but by ancient instincts woven through evolution. They are private experiences, yet they echo across humanity like myths retold in millions of minds. It's okay to drift. Even more mysterious is the sense of presence within dreams. The I inside the dream is both us and not us, capable of actions we never choose, emotions we do not summon, and identities that can shift without warning. Consciousness inside the dream feels fluid, dissolving and reforming moment by moment. Some neuroscientists propose that this allows the mind to test versions of the self, exploring emotional resilience and cognitive boundaries in a consequence-free world. Others argue that dreaming may represent the brain's attempt to maintain a coherent sense of self during neural storms. Yet no theory fully captures the texture of dream experience, the way it feels both intimately ours and eerily autonomous. As the architecture of sleep carries us deeper through its nightly cycles, dreams appear not as random hallucinations, but as intricate tapestries woven from memory, emotion, and imagination. They reshape the mind quietly. They smooth the sharp edges of the day. They explore what the waking self cannot. And somewhere inside that theater, the subconscious whispers in images rather than words, in symbols rather than conclusions. Somewhere, light continues to travel, somewhere. The dream deepens its glow. It's okay to drift. It moves deeper now, into the older layers of dreaming, the ones shaped not just by daily memory, but by the long history of the human mind. For generations, we searched for meaning in these nightly visions. Freud imagined dreams as coded desires, messages wrapped in metaphor, waiting to be decoded with careful analysis. He believed every image hid a wish, a wound, or a masked truth from the subconscious. But modern neuroscience offers a gentler view. Dreams may not speak in deliberate symbols at all. Instead, they may arise from the way the brain tries to make sense of spontaneous neural firing, weaving fragments into stories simply because the mind craves coherence. It's okay to drift. This doesn't diminish their emotional power. The limbic system, our emotional circuitry, remains intensely active during REM, often 30–35% more than during waking calm. This heightened emotional glow explains why dreams can feel unbearably vivid. Even when their logic dissolves on waking, scenes shift like watercolor. Characters morph. Plot lines fold into one another, blurred yet charged with significance. The brain is not trying to tell a clear story. It is trying to integrate feelings too complex for waking thought. Some researchers believe dreams act as a type of emotional therapy, a nocturnal rehearsal where the brain revisits difficult experiences in softened form. A 2019 study found that after dreaming about stressful events, participants showed reduced amygdala reactivity the next day when exposed to similar triggers. It's as if the brain takes the sharpness of a memory and smooths it gently, allowing us to carry it with less weight. This could explain why we often wake feeling lighter after dreaming, even if the dream itself felt strange or unsettling. It's okay to drift, but dream logic remains one of the deepest riddles of the mind. Inside the dream, cause and effect loosen their grip. You can step into a doorway and find yourself in another lifetime. You can speak without moving your lips. You can remember things that never happened and forget things that shaped your real life entirely. Despite this, the dreaming mind rarely questions the impossible. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for critical thinking, goes dim, its activity dropping significantly during REM. Without that inner narrator, surreal events feel natural, accepted without resistance. At the same time, the parietal regions that shape spatial awareness stay active, allowing us to move through dream environments as if they were real. This is why we can run, fall, fly, or wander through intricate landscapes with a sense of presence. Dream worlds are not random. They are structured by the neural maps the brain carries from waking life. We navigate imagined cities using the same cognitive pathways we use to walk across the kitchen floor. Dreams, then, are built from the architecture of lived experience, rearranged into impossible geographies. And still, beneath all the neural activity and emotional alchemy, something more mysterious stirs. Dreams often reveal truths we overlook. Not prophetic truths, but psychological ones, feelings we suppress, questions we refuse to ask, fears we have not yet named. Dreams allow these hidden elements to surface safely, shaped into scenes that can be explored without consequence. This is why so many people wake from certain dreams with a sense of clarity, even when the dream itself made little rational sense. It's okay to drift. Across cultures, dreams have always felt sacred portals to ancestors, omens, reflections, or spiritual journeys. And while science reframes these beliefs in neurological terms, the awe remains intact, because regardless of the mechanism, the experience of dreaming is universal, bridging continents, eras, and languages. It connects the waking self to a deeper, older consciousness, one shaped not only by personal memory, but by instinct and imagination etched across thousands of generations. As the cycles of the night continue, dreams grow longer, more layered. REM phases stretch as dawn approaches. The final dream of the night, often leaving the strongest impression. Patterns sharpen, themes return, characters reappear as if summoned by the subconscious for one last conversation before morning light. Somewhere, light continues to travel through the vastness of neural space. And as we drift toward the next frontier, the dream world shifts subtly from something we passively witness to something we may, under rare conditions, influence. This doorway leads to lucid dreaming, where awareness flickers inside the dream itself, creating a bridge between subconscious imagery and conscious intention. But for now, the night simply holds us, and the dream carries its quiet glow. It's okay to drift. It begins with a flicker, a faint spark of recognition whispering through the dream. The scene continues unfolding, the dream logic still dissolving and reforming around you. Yet something subtle shifts. Awareness stirs. In a landscape shaped entirely by imagination, a small light of consciousness appears, as if the dream itself has remembered you. This is the threshold of lucidity, a rare moment when the dreaming mind realizes it is dreaming. It's okay to drift. Lucid dreaming occupies a paradoxical space in the architecture of sleep. The body remains deeply paralyzed in REM, the cortex still generating impossible worlds. Yet the prefrontal regions, usually dimmed, begin to glow again. Studies show that regions involved in self-reflection and decision-making increase their activity by nearly 30–40% during lucidity, creating a hybrid state where unconscious imagery meets conscious awareness. It is neither waking nor dreaming, but something in between, a bridge suspended inside the night. For most people, lucidity arrives by accident. A repeating symbol appears. A memory contradicts itself. Gravity fails. A familiar face speaks with a voice that doesn't belong. These small fractures in dream logic allow the mind to question its own reality, even when that reality is dissolving moment by moment. But lucidity itself does not grant control. It only grants awareness. Control, when it appears, is gentle, like steering a current rather than commanding it. It's okay to drift. Inside a lucid dream, the world feels startlingly vivid. Colors sharpen, textures glow. Sound moves as if carried by warm air. The sensory cortex lights up intensely, almost matching wakeful perception in some regions. And yet, this vividness is fragile. Too much excitement, too much intention, can collapse the dream entirely. Lucidity is a balance, a quiet recognition that must not tip toward waking. The mind inside a lucid dream behaves differently. Emotional tone stabilizes. With amygdala activity dropping, compared to normal REM, allowing the dreamer to navigate even intense scenes with unusual calm. People often describe the experience as weightless, as if emotions lose their sharpest edges, replaced by a soft clarity. In this state, the subconscious becomes a landscape not only to witness, but sometimes to gently explore. Some researchers believe lucid dreaming may open pathways to understanding consciousness itself. In waking life, awareness is constant, anchored to the world through sensation and memory. But during sleep, when the external world falls silent, awareness that arises internally becomes a remarkable phenomenon, the mind, recognizing its own creation. It is a self-aware simulation, a temporary mirror reflecting the deeper layers of cognition. And in that mirror, something ancient stirs the question of how the brain constructs the experience of I. It's okay to drift. The rarity of lucidity adds to its allure. Most people experience it only a handful of times in their entire lives. But training can increase its frequency. Reality checks during waking hours, dream journaling, or the MILD technique, where sleepers rehearse the intention to recognize dreaming. Still, even with practice, lucidity remains elusive, arriving only when the architecture of sleep aligns with the quiet willingness of the subconscious. What lucidity reveals most clearly is the layered nature of the mind. During waking life, consciousness feels singular and continuous, but the emergence of self-awareness inside a dream suggests that consciousness may be modular, capable of flickering on and off across states. It challenges the idea of a stable self, instead proposing a fluid identity formed and reformed by shifting neural networks. And beneath the curiosity and wonder, there is something deeply comforting about lucidity, the realization that even within the wildest dream, even when the world dissolves into symbols and surreal landscapes, a small light of awareness can still return, steady and familiar, in the shifting glow of REM sleep. The self is never entirely lost. It simply wanders through different terrains. It's okay to drift. As the night carries us forward, lucidity stands as a gentle doorway, not to control, but to understanding. Beyond it lies the darker, more elusive terrain of nightmares and night terrors, where the subconscious weaves its shadows as skillfully as its stories. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the next mystery waits in the places where dreams turn dark and luminous at once. It deepens now, moving into the subtler layers behind the lucid state, the delicate machinery that allows awareness to flicker inside a dream without completely dissolving it. Even when clarity appears, guiding the dream like a small lantern, the larger architecture remains shaped by older, quieter forces within the subconscious. Scenes shift under their own gravity. Characters act with gentle autonomy, and the dreamer, even when aware, becomes more of a guest than a master. The mind can loosen here. One of the most astonishing confirmations of lucidity came from experiments where dreamers signaled their awareness with deliberate eye movements: left, right, left, right, mirroring a pattern arranged while awake. Because the eye muscles remain free during REM sleep, these signals pass through the barrier between dreaming and measurement, appearing clearly on EEG and polysomnography recordings. For the first time, science could observe intention traveling outward from the dream, a bridge between inner experience and waking observation. Yet awareness inside a dream does not guarantee control. Lucid dreamers often describe the world shifting beneath them, the ground evaporating, skies rearranging, faces blending from one memory to another. Even when the dreamer wishes to shape the scene, the deeper layers of the brain continue weaving the narrative, guided by emotional residue, memory fragments, and instinctive processes that reach far beyond conscious thought. You can drift a little deeper. Lucidity emerges from an unusual neural balance. The prefrontal cortex, dimmed during most REM sleep, brightens slightly, allowing metacognition, the ability to recognize one's state, to reappear. At the same time, visual and emotional regions remain highly active, producing vivid imagery infused with feeling. It creates a hybrid state where self-awareness coexists with the fluidity of dreaming, a rare alignment that can vanish with the slightest tension, and this tension is often emotional. Too much excitement, a sudden surge of joy or fear, can lift the dreamer toward waking. Too much analytical thought can dissolve the landscape entirely. Lucidity requires softness, awareness without gripping, intention without demand. Experienced dreamers often describe steering the dream not through command, but through suggestion, moving with its currents rather than against them. From a neurological view, the dream is built from vast internal maps. The brain reconstructs spaces using the same networks it uses to navigate waking environments. This is why dream architecture, no matter how surreal, still feels spatially coherent. A staircase leads somewhere, a road curves, a room has a shape that feels intuitively navigable. Even in dreams, the mind preserves fragments of physical law, echoing the world it knows. But lucidity also reveals something more profound. The mind can generate entire worlds and then awaken inside them. It can become aware within its own invention. The self-observing, the self-created scene suggests a layered consciousness, a structure with boundaries that can shift, overlap, or momentarily synchronize in ways waking life rarely allows. The night holds you. Lucid dreaming has drawn interest for its therapeutic potential as well. When awareness rises inside a nightmare, emotional tone often softens. The dreamer may remain inside the scene without being overwhelmed, or gently change its direction. Some clinical studies note reductions of nightmare frequency by nearly 40%, especially when techniques focus on recognizing fear without resisting it. Lucidity, in these moments, becomes not an escape, but a quiet companion. Yet, for all its promise, lucidity is rare. Most people experience it only a few times across their lives, often spontaneously. Training can increase the odds. But even practiced, dreamers find lucidity unpredictable, an event shaped as much by physiology as by intention. This unpredictability hints at a deeper truth: dreaming belongs to the subconscious far more than to conscious will. As this luminous state fades, the dream world settles back into its natural current. Awareness dims, scenes shift again, and the subtle glow of lucidity recedes into the broader tapestry of sleep. Ahead lies a darker frontier, the realm where fear sharpens its outline and emotion becomes raw, the territory of nightmares and night terrors. Somewhere, light continues to travel, somewhere in the deeper folds of the mind. The next mystery waits just beyond the edge of sleep. It rises like a distant tremor, a subtle shift in the emotional tone of the dream. Colors deepen, shadows grow longer. Scenes that were soft and surreal take on a new texture, as if the mind is preparing to illuminate feelings that waking thought has set aside. This is the quiet threshold where dreams become nightmares, not as punishments or omens, but as emotional storms woven from memory, instinct, and unfinished stories within the subconscious. The night holds you. Nightmares begin in the same landscape as ordinary dreams. But the emotional centers of the brain, especially the amygdala, brighten with heightened intensity. During these moments, amygdala activity can surge to 50% above waking levels, shaping dreams through fear, urgency, or unresolved stress. The logic of the dream begins to warp around these emotions. Doors lead nowhere. Voices echo from unreachable places. The environment becomes a mirror for feelings the waking mind has not yet softened. And yet, even in their intensity, nightmares carry a purpose. Many neuroscientists believe they serve as emotional rehearsals, allowing the brain to simulate danger in a safe, enclosed world. In evolutionary terms, they may have helped ancestors strengthen responses to threat, practicing escape, awareness, and resilience within dreamscapes without risking real harm. Modern research still echoes this idea after experiencing nightmares. Some people show improved emotional regulation when facing similar stressors awake. You can drift a little deeper. But nightmares are not always tied to trauma or fear. Sometimes they emerge from subtle imbalances, irregular sleep patterns, fever, certain medications, or sleep deprivation, which increases REM pressure and intensifies dream activity. The brain, in these states, becomes more reactive. Its emotional filters thinner. Images take on sharpness. Narratives rush toward intensity. Even small daily frustrations can magnify, becoming towering symbols in the dream. Then there are the dreams that arrive without imagery at all, night terrors. The raw eruptions of fear that rise from deep within the sleep cycle. These episodes occur not in REM, but in slow wave sleep. When the brain is least connected to conscious awareness, the sleeper may sit upright, scream, or thrash, eyes open but unseeing. Caught in a surge of autonomic arousal, heart rate spikes, breathing becomes rapid. The body reacts as if in immediate danger. Yet no narrative accompanies the fear. Night terrors belong to an older stratum of the mind, one that predates the storytelling nature of REM dreams. In children, night terrors are far more common, affecting up to 40% during developmental years. Their brains, still learning to regulate transitions between sleep stages, can fire into partial arousal, creating these intense but brief episodes. Most children never remember them. The mind protects itself by withholding the imagery that would normally accompany fear. In adults, night terrors are less frequent but often linked to stress, genetics, or disruptions in the sleep cycle. The experience remains vivid for observers, but for the sleeper, it dissolves without trace. And still, nightmares and night terrors share something quiet and universal. They arise from the brain's attempt to communicate, to regulate, to balance. Fear is not the enemy inside these nighttime visions. It is simply emotion seeking, movement, and energy rising into form so it can soften again. The night holds you. What is most mysterious is how quickly these storms resolve. The brain, after producing fear so vivid it shakes the sleeping body, often returns to calm within minutes. Heart rate settles, muscles relax, dreams shift back into quieter imagery as if the emotional wave has passed through without lingering. This recovery suggests that nightmares, for all their intensity, may relieve emotional pressure rather than amplify it. And as this darker territory unfolds, the mind reveals another hidden thread. Fear and imagination are intertwined, the same networks that generate wonder, curiosity, and surreal beauty also generate threat. Nightmares are crafted from the same fabric as dreams, a reminder that the subconscious speaks in many tones, not all of them soft, but all of them meaningful. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the deeper shadows of the mind begin to loosen, preparing for the slow return toward calmer waves. It unfolds further now, into the deeper reasons why the sleeping mind sometimes turns toward shadow rather than softness. Nightmares, for all their vividness and intensity, emerge from an exquisite convergence of networks, emotional circuits glowing with old memories, sensory areas reacting to imagined stimuli, and storytelling regions stitching fragments into scenes. The brain is not trying to frighten itself. It is trying to process what waking life leaves unresolved. The night moves with you. In REM sleep, where most nightmares form, emotion often takes the lead. Studies show heightened amygdala activation paired with reduced prefrontal moderation, allowing fear to unfold freely without the balancing logic we rely on during the day. This neural imbalance creates a landscape where feelings amplify into images, and tension becomes story. Yet, paradoxically, this emotional freedom may be what allows the brain to release pressure, transforming inner conflict into dream imagery that can dissolve at dawn. Some scientists describe nightmares as fear simulations, training the brain to respond quickly to threat. Others see them as emotional catharsis, helping reduce stress by allowing difficult feelings to move in symbolic form. A 2018 study even found that individuals who dream more frequently about stressful situations often show lower anxiety responses in waking life. Dreams, it seems, practice for life in ways we rarely notice. You are held in this quiet. Night terrors, however, belong to a different realm altogether. They rise from the depth of slow-wave sleep, long before the mind can weave narrative. The body reacts first, heart racing, muscles tensing, breath accelerating as if a primal alarm has been triggered without explanation. The sleeper rarely wakes fully and almost never recalls details. This suggests the episode originates in regions tied to instinctive arousal rather than conscious imagery. What feels dramatic from outside is often forgotten inside, fading like a wave, returning to deeper water. Genetics play a subtle role as well. Twin studies show that susceptibility to night terrors can be inherited, hinting at biological patterns that shape how the brain transitions between sleep stages. Children experience these events far more often, not because their minds are troubled, but because their neural architecture is still maturing. As the brain strengthens its regulatory pathways, night terrors diminish naturally, like a tide receding with age. Drift gently if you wish. Nightmares in adults, on the other hand, tend to mirror life pressures more directly: stress, trauma, disrupted schedules, or irregular REM cycles. Even something as simple as sleeping later than usual can intensify dream activity, because REM periods lengthen toward the end of the night. This is why many people experience their most vivid or unsettling dreams in the early morning hours. The brain, more active, becomes more responsive to emotional residue. Yet, for all their darkness, nightmares hold a curious grace. They end, almost always. They give way to calmer landscapes as the sleep cycle moves forward. Heart rate slows again, breathing steadies. The brain shifts into new rhythms, allowing the storm to dissolve without permanence. Like weather passing across the mind, the emotional sky clears gently, guided by cycles that have shaped human sleep for millions of years. The night moves with you, and within this shifting emotional terrain lies an unseen structure, the internal clock that modulates nearly every biological rhythm, including when nightmares are most likely to appear. This clock, deep within the brain, governs temperature, hormone release, alertness, and cycles of dreaming. It influences the timing and intensity of sleep stages, shaping how the night unfolds. As the emotional shadows soften, the next mystery emerges. Quietly, from the center of the brain, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons keeping time with astonishing precision. This structure orchestrates the rise and fall of sleep itself, guiding the interplay of light, darkness, metabolism, and rhythm. And so, the path widens, carrying us from the inner storms of the subconscious toward the harmonic pulse that governs every hour of our lives. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the body's clock begins its steady glow. It begins long before the first moment of sleepiness, long before eyelids grow heavy or thoughts begin to blur. Deep within the brain, a quiet pulse keeps time with a precision that rivals the turning of planets. This is the human circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal cycle governed by a cluster of roughly 20,000 neurons in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. It sits just above the optic chiasm, watching light and darkness with silent devotion, shaping nearly every physiological rhythm we carry. The rhythm carries you. The SCN is small, no larger than a grain of rice, yet its influence radiates through the entire body. It synchronizes hormone release, body temperature, digestion, mood, and the architecture of sleep itself. Through subtle signals, it prepares the mind for waking each morning and guides the descent into rest each night. Even isolated in laboratory conditions, the SCN continues ticking with astonishing regularity, drifting by only minutes across long periods. It is a clock not built of gears and metal, but of ions, proteins, and oscillating genes turning on and off in slow motion. You can drift with it. Light is the primary conductor of this system. When morning arrives, even a brief exposure to brightness, as little as 50 to 100 lux, triggers retinal cells to send signals straight to the SCN. Cortisol rises gently. Core body temperature begins to climb. Alertness stirs. The biological day begins its quiet unfolding. As evening approaches and light fades, melatonin production increases, aligning the internal rhythm with the external world. It is a partnership as old as life itself. But circadian rhythm is not merely a response to daylight. Temperature, food timing, social interaction, and even exercise serve as secondary cues known as Zeitgebers, time givers. Each one nudges the internal clock, helping align the body's cycles with the environment. This is why shifting meals or nighttime routines can subtly move the rhythm forward or backward. Like adjusting the hands on a celestial dial, the rhythm carries you. Chronotypes, the natural variations in timing across individuals, add another layer to this mystery. Some bodies wake eagerly with sunrise, their internal clocks running slightly shorter than 24 hours. Others drift later, with rhythms closer to 24, 5 or 25 hours, leaning toward nighttime alertness and slow morning transitions. These differences are partly genetic. Certain gene variants influence whether someone becomes a lark or an owl. In modern life, where schedules rarely match biological preference, these differences can generate internal friction. An evening type forced into early routines often experiences something researchers call social jet lag, a misalignment that can ripple across sleep quality, mood, and energy. Still, the circadian rhythm adapts with quiet resilience. It adjusts gently to seasonal changes, shifting sunrise and sunset by minutes each day. It aligns with latitude, culture, and climate. It listens to the body and the world at once, weaving both into a single, coherent pattern. You can drift with it, but a deeper mystery lies beneath its surface. The circadian system is not just a simple loop driven by light. It contains intricate feedback cycles involving proteins like clock, BMAL1, PER, and CRY, molecular gears that rise and fall in carefully timed waves. These cycles persist even in near total darkness, as if the body carries its own internal sunrise and sunset. At the cellular level, nearly every organ follows its own circadian rhythm. Entrained but slightly independent, the liver, the heart, even the skin keeping time with unique phases. The SCN does not control them directly. It coordinates them, conducting an orchestra of internal clocks into harmony. When these rhythms fall out of sync through shift work, travel across time zones, or chronic irregular schedules, the body feels the dissonance. Digestion shifts, mood wavers, sleep becomes fragmented. But when the rhythms align smoothly, a subtle ease enters the day. Energy rises and falls like gentle tides. Thoughts flow evenly. The night arrives with quiet readiness rather than struggle. The rhythm carries you, and as the internal clocks continue their patient turning, They guide us not only towards sleep, but through the deeper cycles of dreaming, recovery, and renewal that follow. Ahead lies the next territory when these rhythms falter, and sleep begins to move in strange and unpredictable ways. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the body listens to its own hidden tempo. It expands outward now, beyond the central clock deep in the brain, into the vast network of rhythms that permeate the entire body. Every organ, every tissue, and nearly every cell carries its own timekeeping mechanism, oscillations that rise and fall like tiny waves. Synchronized but distinct, researchers estimate that as many as 80% of genes show circadian patterns in expression, turning on or off depending on the time of day. The night moves gently with you. This system behaves like an orchestra. The SCN is the conductor, setting the tempo, but each instrument, the liver, the gut, the heart, even the immune system plays its own part, entering and fading according to internal cycles. When these rhythms align, energy feels smooth, wakefulness comes easily, and sleep approaches with natural softness. But when they fall out of harmony, the internal world becomes a little more turbulent, a little less predictable. Light continues to act as the primary tuning fork. Blue wavelengths, around 480 nanometers, are especially potent at suppressing melatonin, shifting the circadian clock toward later timing. This is why late-night screens can nudge the rhythm into misalignment, causing the body to think the night is newer than it is. The effect is not large, perhaps 20 to 40 minutes of delay, but enough to disrupt the gentle cadence of the sleep cycle. You can rest inside this rhythm. Temperature also plays a silent but powerful role. Core body temperature drops by roughly 1 degree Celsius at night, orchestrated by the circadian system to prepare the body for sleep. If this decline is disrupted by late exercise, stress, or irregular routines, the descent into rest becomes slightly harder, like trying to fall asleep while the internal world is still too warm. Just as the brain listens to light, the body listens to temperature, aligning with cycles that echo ancient patterns of day and night. Meanwhile, hormones move in carefully timed waves. Cortisol rises before dawn, waking the body slowly, then drops as the day unfolds. Melatonin climbs in the evening, rippling through the bloodstream like a signal from the night itself. Growth hormone peaks during the first cycles of deep sleep. Even hunger regulation follows circadian patterns with ghrelin, the hunger hormone, often peaking when the body expects meals based on prior routines. The clock is not an accessory to sleep. It is the foundation beneath it. When these rhythms align with daily life, sleep emerges effortlessly. But when they drift apart through shift work, jet lag, or chronic irregularity, the disruption can ripple through the system. Shift workers, whose schedules battle natural light cycles, often experience chronic circadian misalignment, leading to fragmented sleep and energy dips during waking hours. Travel across time zones, even a modest shift of 3-5 hours, creates temporary internal conflict, with the body following one clock and the world insisting on another. The night moves gently with you. This internal conflict doesn't indicate weakness. It reveals how ancient and deeply rooted, the circadian system is shaped by millions of years under consistent cycles of light and darkness, sunrise and sunset. Only in recent centuries has human life diverged dramatically from these patterns, creating conditions the body hasn't fully adapted to. And so, the internal clock does what it can. It shifts gradually, almost patiently, adjusting by about 1 hour per day in response to change. It listens, recovers, and realigns in its own slow language. Even in perfect conditions, circadian rhythms do not run like machines. They drift slightly. They respond to emotion, diet, temperature, light, noise, movement, and even social cues. They shape not only when we sleep, but how deeply, how vividly, and how gently the mind travels through night. This rhythm forms the invisible structure beneath every dream and every dawn. As this deeper understanding settles, the next mystery begins to form at the edges. What happens when these rhythms falter so profoundly that sleep itself becomes unpredictable, arriving too early, too late, or not at all? What occurs when the body cannot navigate its cycles, and the night becomes fragmented by interruptions, intrusions, or sudden awakenings? Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, sleep begins to shift out of pattern, moving into the realm of disorders and deviations. It starts as a subtle tremor in the rhythm, the smallest deviation from the body's internal clock, a night that arrives too late, a dawn that feels too early, a moment when the usual descent into rest becomes tangled or uneven. Sleep, so fluid and reliable for most of life, can shift into patterns that feel unfamiliar, not broken, not dangerous, simply altered, shaped by biology, stress, genes, and the deep intricacies of the brain. The body drifts in its own way. Insomnia is one of the most common forms this divergence takes. It is not just the absence of sleep, but the presence of wakefulness at the wrong moment. The mind holding on to alertness when the night asks it to soften. Sometimes it emerges from prolonged stress, sometimes from irregular schedules, sometimes from an overactive cognitive rhythm that continues its momentum long after the day has ended. Researchers often point toward heightened arousal systems, with the sympathetic nervous system maintaining subtle activation even when the body wants to rest. You are safe inside this quiet. Then there are patterns shaped by neurological shifts, such as narcolepsy, a condition where the boundaries between sleep and wakefulness blur. Narcolepsy is linked to the loss of orexin-producing neurons, a small but essential network that stabilizes wakefulness. Without orexin, the sleep-wake cycle becomes more fluid, allowing REM-like intrusions into wakefulness and sudden sleep attacks into the day. The experience can be startling, but the underlying biology remains clear. The rhythm itself becomes too permeable, like the edge of a dream dissolving into daylight. Other conditions arise when sleep fragments rather than disappears. Periodic limb movements, subtle, involuntary contractions that appear every 20-40 seconds, can disrupt the body's natural descent into deeper stages. Sleep apnea introduces pauses in breathing, sometimes dozens of times per hour, momentarily lifting the sleeper toward wakefulness without full awareness. From the outside, these interruptions appear brief, almost imperceptible. Inside, they reshape the night, pulling the mind repeatedly from restorative depths. Parasomnias form another branch of this landscape. Behaviors that emerge when the brain transitions between states. Sleep talking, sitting upright, walking through a room without conscious control. These moments arise when the boundary between wakefulness and sleep does not fully close, allowing fragments of motor activity to surface. In children, these episodes are common and often harmless, the result of neural pathways still learning how to coordinate the transitions between phases. In adults, they may occur during stress or irregularities in sleep architecture, reflecting the brain's attempt to stabilize itself. Some deviations feel even more mysterious dream enactment behaviors, where the body moves as if responding to dream imagery. REM behavior disorder, a condition where the protective paralysis of REM sleep weakens, allowing gestures or vocalizations tied to dream events. Though it can appear dramatic, the biology is clear. The brainstem circuits responsible for muscle inhibition release their hold too early or too late, letting the dream communicate through movement. Yet even when sleep goes rogue, the body holds an extraordinary capacity to recalibrate. Adjustments to schedule, light exposure, temperature, or routine often restore balance gently over time. Patterns shift, depth returns, rhythms realign with the larger circadian flow. The night, patient and adaptable, continues its work through cycles of stabilization and release. Perhaps the most humbling element within this territory is its reminder that sleep is not a simple switch, but a dynamic conversation between body and mind. Hormones, temperature, neural networks, emotional residue, and external cues all influence the architecture of the night. When these elements move out of harmony, sleep responds, not with failure, but with patterns that reveal the complexity of the system itself. And as the night continues unfolding, a deeper question rises gently. What shapes these deviations at the biological level? Are some of us predisposed to shift away from rhythmic sleep because of genetic patterns written long before birth? Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere, the next mystery prepares to unfold in the quiet spaces of inheritance and biology. It moves deeper now, into the quieter biological forces that shape how sleep deviates from its usual paths. For even when patterns shift unexpectedly, the roots often reach into layers of physiology that operate far below conscious awareness. Some individuals carry subtle genetic variations that influence how the brain transitions between sleep stages, how strongly arousal circuits respond to stress, or how the body regulates its circadian rhythm. These variations are not flaws. They are part of the natural diversity of human biology. The night steadies beneath you. Studies have identified clusters of genes tied to sleep duration, sleep timing, and vulnerability to certain disorders. Variants of the PER and CRY genes, for example, can lengthen or shorten the circadian cycle by minutes that accumulate across days, nudging a person toward earlier or later rhythms. Other genes near the HLA-DQB1 region correlate with narcolepsy, shaping immune interactions that affect orexin-producing neurons. These genetic threads weave quietly through the nervous system, influencing patterns long before they become visible in the night's behavior. But genetics tells only part of the story. Sleep is shaped by a lifetime of experiences, emotional landscapes, environmental cues, daily routines, even the cultural rhythms one grows up within. Two people with similar biology may sleep very differently because their inner and outer worlds give rise to distinct patterns of stress, expectation, and recovery. Sleep adapts constantly, responding to years of learning, to subtle shifts in health, to the ebb and flow of relationships and responsibilities. In this way, deviations from typical sleep become not malfunctions, but reflections of the body's attempt to negotiate complexity. The brain adjusts thresholds for arousal. The heart alters its nocturnal rhythms. Breathing patterns adapt to internal and external pressures. All of it forms an intricate dance between stability and change. You remain safe in this unfolding. Even the more dramatic seeming deviations, sleepwalking, REM behavior disorder, confusional arousals, follow recognizable neurological patterns. Sleepwalking emerges when deep sleep collides with partial motor activation. REM behavior disorder appears when muscle atonia circuits fail to fully engage. Confusional arousals rise when the brain attempts to surface before awareness is fully ready. Though they may look chaotic, each reflects an identifiable state between states, a momentary blending of systems that usually remain separate, and beneath these variations lies a profound resilience. Sleep continually seeks equilibrium. When patterns shift, the system looks for ways to stabilize through homeostatic pressure, through circadian cues, through gradual adjustments in depth and timing, even after weeks of irregularity. The architecture of the night has a way of returning to its familiar structure once conditions improve. The night steadies beneath you. Yet the most mysterious element within these deviations is not the irregularity itself, but how the mind preserves continuity within them, even when sleep fractures, when dreams become vivid or disruptive, when awakenings come too often. The self remains intact. Memory still consolidates. Cells still repair. Emotion still processes beneath the turbulence. The system bends without breaking, revealing a flexibility that feels almost like grace. And as this landscape settles, another truth becomes clear. Sleep disorders are not simply interruptions. They are windows into the deeper architecture of the brain, how it protects, adapts, recalibrates, and communicates its needs. They show us how sensitive the system is to imbalance and how powerfully it seeks restoration. Ahead, in the quiet after these deviations, lies a more subtle frontier, the realm of inherited patterns, predispositions, neurotransmitters, and the biological signatures that shape how each person experiences the night. A place where the blueprint of sleep is written not only in habits, but in chemistry and code. Somewhere, light continues to travel. Somewhere in the quiet spaces of inheritance, the next mystery begins to glow. It opens quietly, like a curtain lifting on the deeper architecture beneath every night of rest. For even before the first memory forms, before the first dream unfolds, the blueprint of sleep is already written in the body, encoded in the molecular rhythms, neurotransmitters, and inherited patterns that guide how the mind travels through darkness. These forces do not dictate destiny, but they shape tendencies, textures, inclinations. The night holds its shape around you. Genes form the first layer of this quiet influence. Researchers have identified nearly 100 genetic regions associated with sleep duration, sleep timing, or vulnerability to disruptions. Variants of the PER and CRY genes regulate the oscillations of the circadian clock, adjusting the body's cycle by minutes each day, minutes that accumulate into early rising larks, late sleeping owls, and everything in between. Some individuals carry traits that favor deeper, slow-wave sleep. Others drift more naturally toward lighter cycles. All of it emerges from subtle differences encoded long before birth. Yet genes alone do not explain the full story. Biology layers itself through chemistry, through the delicate balance of neurotransmitters that rise and fall across the 24-hour cycle. GABA, the brain's primary inhibitory molecule, helps initiate sleep, whispering calm through neural circuits as evening arrives. Orexin, or hypocretin, maintains wakefulness. When its levels fall, dreams and REM-like features can intrude upon the day. Serotonin modulates transitions between states. Dopamine shapes moments of alertness, like tides washing through neural shores. These chemicals create rhythms beneath the rhythms. Environmental context weaves into these internal patterns. Light and darkness shape melatonin secretion. Temperature adjusts how easily the body slips into deeper phases. Meals act as time signals, influencing metabolic clocks within the liver and gut. Even social cues, conversations, routines, emotional expectations can shift internal timing subtly, guiding sleep not only through biology, but through lived experience. You can ease into this understanding, but the most intricate element lies in how all these systems synchronize. Every organ carries its own circadian rhythm, yet all of them must harmonize with the central clock in the brain. When this alignment holds, sleep arrives gently and predictably. When rhythms drift apart, if the liver anticipates food at a different time than the brain anticipates rest, the internal world becomes slightly dissonant, not broken, merely out of tune. Biology adjusts slowly, tugged by light, meals, temperature, and the body's own homeostatic need for rest. Genetics also shapes vulnerability to certain disruptions. Those with specific HLA variants may be more likely to develop narcolepsy, not because the gene causes sleepiness, but because it influences immune interactions that affect orexin-producing neurons. Other genes contribute to susceptibility for insomnia, sleep apnea, or restless nights, interacting with lifestyle in subtle ways. Still, none of these patterns act alone. Biology behaves more like a landscape than a script, a place where many pathways exist, and sleep follows the one shaped by both inheritance and experience. Even emotional sleep patterns, often attributed purely to stress or routine, have biological roots. Some people naturally show higher nighttime cortisol sensitivity, making them more prone to awakenings during stress. Others have sleep spindle patterns, the rapid brainwave bursts of stage 2 sleep that vary genetically, influencing how resilient their sleep is to noise or interruption. The night holds its shape around you, and through all of these layers, the mind continues to process, integrate, and reshape its internal state. Sleep is not simply a reaction to the day. It is a reflection of the entire system, its chemistry, its rhythms, its inheritance, its memories. The deeper one looks, the more sleep resembles a symphony, many instruments playing with subtle timing, interacting in ways that create both harmony and deviation. As these hidden forces come into view, a broader question rises. If biology shapes how we sleep, can understanding these patterns help us navigate the night more gently? Can insight soften the edges of irregular rhythms, guiding the mind towards steadier rest? Ahead lies another horizon, the future of sleep science, where technology, neuroscience, and quiet curiosity converge to explore the subconscious frontier. Somewhere, light continues its quiet travel. Somewhere, the next question breathes beneath the surface. It deepens further now, into the quiet choreography between biology and experience, a choreography that shapes not only how we sleep, but how we dream, remember, and recover. Though genes provide the blueprint, the living body rewrites that blueprint every day, responding to shifting environments, emotions, and seasons of life. Sleep emerges from this negotiation as something fluid, adaptive, and deeply personal. You are gently carried by these rhythms. Consider how memory intertwines with biology. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus replays patterns of neural activity that occurred during the day, transferring them into long-term storage across the cortex. This replay mechanism is shaped partly by genetics. Some individuals naturally produce stronger spindle-coupled ripples, the brief electrical signatures that enhance memory consolidation. These tiny oscillations, lasting just 5,200 milliseconds, influence how effectively new information becomes tomorrow's knowledge. Even emotional learning is shaped by inherited patterns. Variations in serotonin receptors can affect how the brain modulates emotional content during REM sleep, influencing the tone and intensity of dreams. Some people process fear more slowly or revisit it more often. Others dissolve emotional charge with fewer cycles. The differences are subtle, yet they ripple through the night in ways we rarely notice. Biology also shapes sensitivity to disruption. A person with naturally lighter sleep, often linked to specific variations in GABA receptor genes, may wake to soft noises, changes in temperature, or brief spikes in heart rate. Another person, with deeper, slow-wave tendencies, may sleep through storms and shifting light. Each pattern has its own strengths and vulnerabilities, its own way of translating the world into rest. Beyond the brain, the body's internal clocks influence sleep with remarkable precision. Cells in the liver anticipate meals. Cells in the muscles anticipate movement. Even the immune system follows circadian phases, becoming more vigilant at night, with white blood cell circulation peaking during early rest. This synchronization is not flawless, but it is beautifully resilient, adjusting day after day as cues shift and environments evolve. The body finds its way. Yet perfection is not the goal of this system. Variability is built into its design. Sleep architecture shifts with age, with stress, with hormonal tides, with changes in daylight or diet. Infants spend nearly 50% of sleep in REM, their brains weaving neural networks at astonishing speed. Adults drift toward deeper slow-wave patterns early in the night, then toward longer REM cycles near dawn. Older adults experience lighter sleep, fewer spindles, gentler transitions. Each stage of life carries a different rhythm, yet all of them fulfill the body's needs. Through all these differences, a single truth persists. Sleep is not one thing, but many. It is biology and story, chemistry and experience, inheritance and adaptation, a system too dynamic to be captured by one explanation, too intricate to be reduced to a single cause. This complexity is not a barrier. It is the reason sleep is so effective, so restorative, so capable of reflecting the entire living world inside us. And as this understanding settles like quiet dust across the landscape of the night, a new horizon appears, one shaped by technology, neuroscience, and the dream of understanding consciousness more deeply. The future of sleep science does not aim to change the night, but to listen to it more carefully, to map the patterns that guide dreams, to interpret the signals that reveal hidden emotional processes, to explore whether artificial intelligence can one day read the symbolic language the subconscious speaks. Somewhere, light continues its patient travel. Somewhere, the next frontier of sleep waits just beyond the edge of understanding. It begins with a quiet curiosity rising inside modern science, a desire not only to measure sleep, but to understand the hidden world unfolding beneath it. For generations, the night remained a soft mystery, observed only through dreams and memory. But now, new tools, new algorithms, and new insights allow researchers to trace the delicate patterns of the subconscious with unprecedented clarity. The night opens gently around you. Neuroimaging has already revealed that dreaming brains glow with activity across visual and emotional networks, even when the body lies still. Functional MRI and high-density EEG can now map these signals in real time, showing how certain dream patterns correlate with memory replay, emotional integration, and even symbolic imagery. These methods do not decode dreams, not yet, but they illuminate their contours, revealing that dream activity is far more structured than once believed. Some researchers imagine a future where non-invasive neural recordings become sensitive enough to reconstruct simplified dream visuals, a kind of ghostly window into subjective experience. Early experiments with machine learning have already paired brainwave signatures with coarse imagery, producing blurred silhouettes that resemble what participants viewed while awake. Though primitive, these findings suggest a path forward where algorithms learn to interpret the subconscious not through meaning, but through pattern recognition. You can drift with these possibilities beyond dreaming. The frontier of sleep science expands into cognitive enhancement gently, ethically, and with caution. Slow oscillation stimulation, for instance, uses subtle auditory cues timed with delta waves to deepen slow-wave sleep. Early trials show improvements in memory consolidation of 10–20%, as if the night becomes slightly more efficient at weaving experiences into long-term storage. The goal is not to intensify sleep artificially, but to support the natural processes already happening beneath the surface. Researchers also explore how targeted electrical or acoustic patterns might influence emotional regulation during REM, potentially easing the grip of traumatic memories. This research remains in its infancy, approached with careful restraint, but the early findings reveal a profound truth. Sleep is not simply passive. It is an active system, capable of responding to gentle external cues without breaking its internal coherence. Artificial intelligence plays a growing role in understanding the subconscious frontier. By analyzing thousands of sleep cycles, AI can detect hidden patterns, predicting insomnia onset, identifying REM behavior disorder, or recognizing subtle circadian drift days before it becomes noticeable. Rather than replacing human insight, these models extend it, offering new ways to listen to what the body already knows. But perhaps the most intriguing question within this frontier is the nature of consciousness during sleep. Neuroscientists debate whether the self in dreams is a reconstruction of identity or a separate mode of awareness entirely. Some evidence suggests that fragments of narrative selfhood persist even in deep sleep, while others indicate that the sense of I dissolves almost completely, reassembling only as REM approaches. Across all theories, one idea shines through. It is reorganizing, recalibrating, and exploring internal landscapes inaccessible during wakefulness. And beneath these scientific pursuits lies a deeper, quieter wonder. Can the subconscious mind be understood without disturbing its natural beauty? Can the future of sleep research illuminate what happens in the dark without diminishing the mystery that makes it so human? As these questions drift across the horizon, the night reveals its next threshold, a place where dreams, identity, and consciousness begin to blur, inviting us to explore what it means to be during sleep and how that being might one day be mapped or gently guided. Somewhere, light continues its slow travel. Somewhere, the frontier waits in the hush between breaths. It gathers now, the deepest question rising from beneath all the rhythms, waves, and cycles of the night. What becomes of the self when consciousness loosens, dissolves, and drifts beyond its usual borders? The body sleeps, the brain continues its silent work, but the sense of I, the felt presence of being, softens until it becomes almost untraceable. You can soften here. In wakefulness, identity feels solid. Thoughts form in sequence. Memories feel anchored. Awareness points outward like a lantern held against the world. But in sleep, this coherence melts. Neural signatures of the self patterns across the default mode network diminish as the brain drifts into NREM stages. Activity in the medial prefrontal cortex and posterior cingulate drops, unraveling the narrative thread that normally defines who we think we are. This dissolution is gentle, almost dissolving in layers. First, attention narrows. Then time loses shape, slipping away from linear progression. Spatial awareness dims. Finally, the inner narrator quiets, and the self becomes more like a presence than a character. It is not gone, it is diffused, drifting through deeper currents of the mind. The night moves quietly with you. Microfact by microfact, researchers trace this shift. During deep sleep, the brain's metabolic energy drops nearly 25%, and large, slow waves sweep across the cortex in synchronized pulses. These waves interrupt the flow of conscious processing, creating brief down states where entire networks fall silent for fractions of a second. Within these pauses, the narrative self cannot anchor itself, and so it recedes, becoming almost weightless. Yet, the subconscious remains active. Emotional integration continues. Memory fragments are sorted, consolidated, or softened. Even during the quietest depths of NREM, the limbic system shows subtle activity, guiding emotional tone beneath consciousness. The self, in these moments, becomes not an observer, but a participant in an invisible internal process. Then, with the rise of REM, fragments of identity begin to return, but rewritten, distorted, or symbolic. The dream self appears, a version of you shaped by memory and imagination rather than waking logic. This self can shift from moment to moment, taking new roles, inhabiting impossible spaces, adopting emotions that feel both foreign and familiar. Here, identity becomes a fluid construct woven by the dreaming brain. And yet, something astonishing happens. Each morning, the self reassembles. Neural networks reignite. The default mode network reconnects. Memory returns with coherence. A sense of continuity arises, giving the impression that the same you who fell asleep has simply reawakened. This reconstruction happens swiftly, often within the first 5-15 seconds of waking, a quiet miracle repeated every day of your life. You can soften here. Some scientists compare this daily dissolution and reformation to a kind of internal tide, a rhythmic ebb and flow of identity. When awake, the tide rises, revealing the familiar landscape of the self. When asleep, especially in deep stages, the tide recedes, exposing broader, quieter spaces where awareness drifts without narrative or boundary. This cycle may serve a purpose deeper than rest or memory. Some theories propose that the temporary dissolution of the self is essential for psychological resilience, giving the brain a way to reset emotional patterns without the constraints of identity. Others suggest that this nightly vanishing is a byproduct of neural maintenance, a natural consequence of networks shutting down to restore themselves, whatever the reason. The transition is one of the most exquisite mysteries in human experience. Sleep does not erase the self. It allows it to unfold into a broader field, a space where awareness becomes diffuse, tender, almost cosmic in its stillness. And as we drift toward the final descent of the night, another truth approaches: that the self you lose during sleep is the same one that returns at dawn, shaped gently by everything the night carried and released. Somewhere, light continues its slow travel. Somewhere, the last mystery waits in a softer, deeper, quiet. It settles now, the final curve of the night smoothing itself around the quiet places of the mind. Here, the sense of self loosens so completely that even the idea of being someone at all begins to fade. No narrative, no thought, only a drifting awareness, softened into something wide and borderless. You are safe here. In these depths, consciousness enters what some researchers call a low integration state, where communication across neural networks slows into broad, synchronized waves. The brain is still alive, with quiet motion, ions flowing, proteins shifting, memories finding their place. Yet, the structure that gives rise to the familiar I is temporarily suspended. This suspension is gentle, like a lantern dimming but never fully going out. Slow oscillations ripple through the cortex, sometimes only 0.5 hertz, each wave lifting and lowering billions of neurons together. During these waves, the sense of separation fades. Regions that normally speak in distinct voices now whisper in unison. The experience may feel like nothing at all, a vast interior stillness where the self rests without needing to be known. The night holds you softly. Even here, the subconscious continues its work. Emotional traces from the day dissolve into softer forms. Memories settle into networks that will hold them for years. Physical repair continues quietly. DNA damage corrected. Synapses pruned or strengthened. Metabolic waste filtered with a clarity the waking mind never achieves. And yet, none of these processes require a self watching over them. The body knows its way in the dark. You can rest in this quiet. As the night prepares to shift toward morning, something begins to stir. Tiny bursts of coordinated activation ripple across the brainstem. Heart rate rises by a few gentle beats. The default mode network flickers, reconnecting its threads. And within these barely noticeable shifts, identity begins to reassemble, the subtle return of the familiar presence you will call me. But the reconstruction is not perfect. It is renewed. The self that returns is not exactly the one that drifted away. It carries softened emotions, restored clarity, the residue of unspoken dreams, and the imprint of everything the night has rearranged. This is why morning often feels like a beginning, even when nothing has changed. You are safe here, and yet the greatest mystery remains. Where was you during the hours when awareness dissolved? Somewhere, everywhere, nowhere in particular. Perhaps consciousness is not a fixed point, but a rhythm appearing when networks integrate, disappearing when they fall into deeper synchronization, a tide rising and receding across the landscape of the mind. In this view, sleep becomes not the absence of self, but the widening of it, the loosening of boundaries, the return to a quieter state where existence does not depend on narration. And when the morning comes, awareness gathers itself gently, like mist forming into a shape, stepping back into the world with quiet familiarity. Even if you don't remember your dreams, even if the night feels blank, the self has traveled far through layers of silence, waves of memory, and the soft architecture of healing. And now, at the end of this gentle descent, nothing is required. Nothing needs to be held. The mind has already done its work. The darkness has already supported you in ways you did not need to see. Somewhere, light continues its slow travel. Somewhere, dawn begins to form at the edges of the world. But for now, you are here, in the last cradle of the night, held without effort, drifting without fear. You are safe here, and you can rest in this quiet. Light still travels, even here, even now, moving across the quiet distance while your breathing settles into its softest rhythm, and the night folds itself gently around your resting shape. The universe breathes through you in long, unhurried waves, a rhythm older than memory, and the space within you opens like a calm horizon where nothing needs to be held anymore. You are home, drifting in the slow glow of a world that asks nothing, the weight of thought dissolving into a warm, low silence where every part of you can finally loosen. You can rest now in the deepest place you know, safe, unhurried, carried by the night, while the last echoes fade into a quiet that belongs only to you.